Hey everybody, what's going on today? It's Wednesday, December the 30th. It's about 11 at night. And I want to talk about winter weather driving tips. Reason being is, me, much like everybody else, is kind of taking for granted the fact that it's winter time because we've had such nice weather so late into the year. Well, it finally came back to bite me in the ass. I got caught in it today. And I wasn't prepared because, like I said, I just take for granted the fact that we haven't really had anything up to this point. So, I want to talk about winter weather driving tips. I know a couple other guys have done this video, but, there may be things that I mentioned that they didn't, or they mentioned that I didn't. So, I know Jeffrey L. did a really good winter driving video, so check his out. And, I'm sure there's a couple other ones out there, but anyway, like I said, I just want to be able to put these things out there, give you something to think about, especially for you guys that this is going to be your first winter driving. As far as what I call snow tools to keep with you, I actually wrote this stuff down so I wouldn't forget to tell you anything. You definitely want to keep a snow shovel and a snow brush or a snow broom, one of the big long telescoping ones, because obviously you got to clean the truck off with it. An ice scraper, some bags of salt, or even a 5-gallon bucket would be good if you got room for it. Some guys will strap it down to their catwalk. Me, I always keep it inside the truck because if you leave it outside, A, it can get ruined, and B, it could disappear. You want to keep extra washer fluid, which you should probably keep that in the truck anyway, but especially in the wintertime, keep extra washer fluid. And it's not a bad idea to keep extra set of windshield wiper blades too, because in the wintertime, unless you got the fancy ones like our buddy Jeffrey L., the heated ones, if you're chopping at them, trying to bust ice off them and everything else, they're going to get tore up pretty fast. So it's not a bad idea to keep some winter wiper blades. Now, some other things that you just want to keep in the truck with you, you definitely want to keep some extra food, something that even if you have, a power inverter or whatever, you want to keep things in there that you don't have to use a microwave for, like some dry food, like crackers, Pop-Tarts. You want to keep extra water or something to drink, most likely water, pop, whatever. Extra blankets. You definitely want to keep extra blankets. A good pair of snow pants, if you actually have a snow suit, that's a good thing to keep in the truck. An extra hat, like a tassel cap, and a really good pair of gloves. And you also want to keep some de-icer in there, just in case your locks freeze, or if you have a padlock on your trailer, which you should. If that lock freezes and you can't get it off, you shoot the de-icer in there so you can get your padlock off the back. Sometimes you can use WD-40. Sometimes that'll work, but it's not a bad thing to keep de-icer, lock de-icer either. And you should automatically have a flashlight in your truck, but you definitely want to make sure you have a good flashlight and extra batteries. And again, you should also have a big giant hammer in your truck anyway. But if you don't, get one, because you could run into a situation where, hey, you go to pick up a trailer and guess what? Brakes might be frozen, so you may need to climb under there and just try to bang on it to free up the shoes from the drums back there. So those are some things as far as survival goes that you're going to want to keep in the truck. Now, as far as your truck itself, you want to keep your fuel tanks topped off as much as possible. And obviously, if you're close to 80,000 pounds, you got to kind of work with that. But just in case something happens where you get stuck somewhere and you got to idle that truck, you don't want to be stuck somewhere for a day and a half with a quarter tank of fuel. So you want to keep your fuel tanks topped up as much as possible. You want to drain your air tanks because you don't want moisture in there. Next thing you know, you got moisture in your air lines. Now, they do make air brake antifreeze. Basically, what you do with that is you'd pop your service and your emergency lines off, and you would dump it right in the glad hand, and hold the line up, let it run in. Just dump it until it's full, and then you would release your brakes and you want to fan your brake pedal, and that pushes that air brake antifreeze through there. So if you do have moisture in there and something's frozen, it's basically alcohol is what it is. But so that's a good thing to keep in the truck too, just in case you do. But you should be draining your air tanks to try to prevent that from happening. And when you do park at night, do not set your trailer brakes, because if you've been driving through ice and water and snow and all that, when you set those trailer brakes, more likely they're going to freeze. So you're going to get up the next day and you're going to have to go out there and try to bang on the drums and everything else to get them free. And actually, you're not supposed to set your trailer brake anyway. The trailer brake is only for use if you're dropping your trailer. So, but yeah, so don't set your trailer brakes when you park. Now, as far as actual driving tips, you definitely want to increase your following distance. You know what I mean? Back off even more than you normally would, because if it's bad out, obviously you know these things don't stop on a dime. So if it's bad out, you want to make sure that you have plenty of space to stop if you have to. And slow down. I mean, there's no need to, if the speed limit's 65, but it's you shouldn't be doing 65, don't do 65. Do 55, do 50, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Everybody else around you will adjust. Because remember, if you lose control of that truck, you're the one that's got to deal with it. Not the guy behind you, or the guy in front of you, or the guy beside you. You're the one that's got to deal with it. Which kind of brings me to another point as far as that goes. Drive within your comfort zone. And what I mean by that is, if you don't feel safe going any faster than 50, don't do it. Now, if the speed limit's 60 and you probably could go 50, but you only feel like you should be going 20, get off the road. There's no shame in pulling over if you don't feel safe. The only thing with that is you have to make sure, call your dispatch, send a message on the Qualcomm, send an email, do whatever you have to do to cover your butt on that, because they can't fire you or anything. If you don't feel it's safe, they can't fire you for that. But you just want to make, if it's in writing, hey, I pulled over at exit 110 on I-84 because there's a snowstorm, blah, blah, blah. This way you're covered. And it's documented. Excuse me. You also want to be even more aware of your surroundings. What's in front of you, what's beside you, what's behind you. You know what I mean? This way you want to have a full mental picture of what's going on around you. And stay off the phone. If it's bad out, even if you have a headset, it's a distraction. You don't need any distractions when it comes to driving in the wintertime. And also, be well rested. You do not want to drive tired if you're driving through a snowstorm, because if you're tired to begin with, that driving in weather like that, driving one of these trucks really, really fatigues you. So you want to be focused and concentrate on what you're doing. You don't want to be exhausted trying to drive through snowstorms. So be well rested. And another tip I can give you is if you're going down the road and you're worried about maybe black ice or something like that, look at your mirrors. Look at the backs of your mirrors. If the backs of your mirrors are icing up, chances are you're going to end up with ice on the road. Same thing goes for your windshield. If the windshield's wet, kind of like it's just raining and the water's just kind of flowing, more likely you're okay. If you notice that water's starting to ice up and freeze, chances are it's freezing on the road too, which is probably a good sign it's time to pull over. And one other tip I can give you, I had an instructor in truck driving school who told me this, and it always stuck with me. If you're, unsure about like, could it be icy? Could it not be icy? So here's a little saying you can keep in mind. If you see spray, you're okay. If you don't see spray, you better pray. Meaning, obviously, if you're going down the road, look at all the other cars, and even look in your mirrors. See if you got mist flying out from behind your trailer or your truck. If you see water mist coming out of there, you're probably okay, because it's just, moisture on the road and it's just flying up. If you can visibly see the road is wet and you don't see anything coming out from underneath, tires of cars or out from underneath your truck or trailer, it's probably ice. you know, or it's got very, very high potential to be black ice. So, you know, keep that saying in mind. So remember, if you see spray, you're okay. If you don't see spray, you better pray. So, but yeah, I guess that's basically it. I mean, you know, it's just common sense, man. It's just common sense. I know this is a long video. It's kind of a lot of information to put out there, so I apologize for the length. But like I said, you know, winter driving in a tractor trailer is no joke. So you just want to take your time, play it cool, be safe, and be smart about what you're doing. You know, if you don't feel that you can go, don't go, and that's the end of the story. So I guess that's about it for this video. I'm going to try to do one more, do my end of year wrap up. I'm going to try to do that maybe tomorrow and try to get it uploaded. So that's it for this video. Everybody have a good night. Thanks for watching. So until next time, everybody be smart, be safe. Email me questions, comments, helpwithtrucking@hotmail.com. And I guess that's it. So, all right, we'll see you down the road later on.